All right, it is week 5. It is Thursday. We got football. This is the C2FL podcast. This is the Attic. Here we go, weekly preview. As I said, week 5. So last week, let's take a look around the league. It was a pretty good week. Some amazing games. I got to say, game of the week really came to play, and it came down to the wire, and we're talking minuscule points. Now, Thursday means stat correction day. So looking through the scores, it looks like the scores held on the weekly or the game results held for the last week's scores. They were so close. NATO Nation just got nipped by Pinecone by less than a point, although a stat correction I think made it bigger. And then the Bruisers lose a nail biter in the game of the week to Compton. Russell Wilson taking some knees, but really didn't matter. It just made that gap a little bit bigger. So that was just nuts. And game of the week has been posted, but this is the podcast, which means we have a special guest today. And this week's special guest is Derek Schwen, team owner of Stink City Bombers. Derek, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay.
You know, we had some technical difficulties getting this podcast going. Took a few minutes, but we're rolling. What'd you take out of last week? Pretty good matchups. Pretty good game of the week. Good C2FL action.
Yeah. I was kind of paying attention to my game, given didn't want to get Jimmy Grammed. And then the other game, you know, right down to that big pass play, and then got so close, and then lost all the ground.
Yeah, just couldn't come up with enough points in the game of the week last week for the Bruisers. No, I guess just pulled it up here. It took me a minute. Stat correction put Pinecone Fury up quite a bit now. He's over 120 points for last week, so that Pinecone Fury NATO Nation matchup stretched out a little bit too. But big week over the Jabronis. They didn't score 220 points, so you kind of nipped him there. I bet he was upset, being he's had a pretty good total compared to the rest of the league. But how do you feel now that you're 4-0? How's your team looking?
It'll be looking better after I get through all these bye weeks this week.
Bye weeks are a concern. Let's take a look at the lineup for you. Just do a little weekly preview kind of thing. Who you got on bye this week?
Chris Ivory, Eric Decker, Jarvis Landry, Mike Wallace.
So pretty much a bunch of guys who played in London last week, giving them the bye week. Ivory looked solid. The Dolphins didn't look solid, that's for sure. Mike Wallace, former Dolphin, he's been not too bad. 10 points a week, pretty solid. So a lot of bye weeks. Got your lineup here. A lot of yellow, a lot of questionable guys. How you feel about going into this week against a pretty tough matchup, if I do say so myself?
Yeah. With the buys and the injuries, I'm a little worried because that's 3 guys I planned on playing that are questionable. I don't think Carlos Williams is going to go. Stevie Johnson probably not going to go. I hope Marshawn goes because I got to play somebody.
Yeah, so I heard they upgraded him to limited practice today. Does that make you feel any better that Marshawn is looking a little bit better, although it's kind of similar to last week?
Yeah, I mean, I got Rawls too, but I'd rather have Marshawn. So hopefully we get some practice in tomorrow.
Yeah, Rawls didn't, he looked like a hero against the Bears, and then last week that heroism wasn't there. It didn't seem like. So that may be an interesting option if so you have to turn to him.
May not have a choice.
Well, that is. So this week you got the Propaniacs. They've been scuffling, to say the least. trying to make some moves on the waiver wire. Their lineup isn't solid from top to bottom by any means. Are you a little bit worried of the upset special, or you kind of got it in the bag?
I'm a little worried because obviously not at full strength, but I get Brady back after his bye, so anytime Brady's in the lineup, I'm liking my chances.
Well, that's true, and given you're going against a Propaniacs, that pretty much means Brady's going to have about a 60-point day, just to make things even worse for that team owner. But that's just how it goes. So, yeah, 4-0, best team in the league points-wise. I believe that's correct. All play records fantastic. Got some bye weeks coming up, but Meatheads took a big loss last week, being the Patriots were on bye. How are you thinking you're feeling with your division now? Your division from the bottom, you got 4, 3, 2, and 1 win, so it's kind of spread out. Not a lot of grouping there. You feel like you're in the driver's seat for the division now that we're almost a quarter of the way into the year?
Oh, I'm definitely liking my position in the division. Obviously, right where I want to be. Just keep winning, and I got nothing to worry about.
Well, that is definitely true. Not sure when the Meatheads show up on your schedule. That'll be a lot of Patriots in action, that is for sure. Yeah, did you check out the game of the week? It was just released about an hour ago.
No, I did not.
So released an hour ago, game of the week. We'll do it right here, official announcement. I don't usually like doing teams 2 weeks in a row. I did it last week with the Bruisers, but this game this week is no doubt about it, game of the week. You got 2 division leaders going at it head-to-head. We got straight out of Wisconsin going into, I don't know what their stadium's called, but I could look it up. A tough matchup with Suit Up. So we have 4-0 Suit Up hosting 3-1 straight out of Compton. So this could have very big division, it's an outside division game, but you still got to try and win them all. Could have some impacts within the division. Wisconsin has opened up a 2-game lead in the division after 4 games. And Suit Up has as well. So they're kind of running away right now with the division. This could help the other teams catch up. What do you see in this matchup? We'll break it down in a second, but first look, are you interested in this matchup, taking a look and how things are going with this game, or is it, both teams are out of my division, don't really care?
Yeah, I usually just focus on my game and whoever, wherever everything else lands. But it should be a pretty good game. I mean, Suit Up's averaging 140 straight out of Wisconsin's averaging 136. So a couple division leaders, pretty similar points scored. Should be a pretty good game.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we can get some, down to the wire. That was pretty cool last week. But let's get right into the breaking down of the game, we're going to break down game of the week. For those of you who have watched the podcast, it'll be a very similar format. We'll just go down starting lineup. We're going to go and see who you like. So let's take a look at the matchup. Starting quarterback straight out of Wisconsin, Matt Ryan and Mike Vick versus the quarterbacks of Suit Up of Drew Brees. Now, these are Thursday lineups, so there's some subject to change. Drew Brees and Josh McCown. Derek, who do you give the edge to in that matchup?
Well, I mean, wow. That's pretty close. I mean, Ryan and Breeze are probably about even, and Vic and McCown are probably about even on a slightly different level.
Our Vic and McCown, right? That is what it is, almost. So Yeah, that's almost a coin flip. Me and Beat-Out called that a couple of last week, that they're just too close to call. Matchups aren't jumping onto the page for either of them.
I would say Ryan and Breeze both have favorable matchups.
Yeah, the Redskins, they shut the Dolphins power offense down.
Yeah, who hasn't?
Well, they almost scored a couple touchdowns against the Jets. Breeze, hopefully, I knew he was going to light me up last week because it was prime time. It was Drew Brees. It happens every year. So I knew that was going to happen. We'll see if he's 100% healthy going into this week, but we'll see what happens with the less than stellar names. But, the Chargers don't have a stellar defense either. They're giving up a lot of points to quarterbacks, I believe, fantasy-wise. So we'll give that one a toss-up. Moving in, starting running backs now. We only have to start one running back, so it's a pick-em here. So we're going Jamal Charles, straight out of Compton, versus Joseph Randall in there for the lineup and suit up. Who do you give the edge to?
Jamal Charles against the Bears.
Yeah, that's looking like a good matchup. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of us in the league could run all over the Bears defense. So we'll see what that Chiefs offense gets put together like. But yeah. I don't know. That whole Dallas running back situation is now Dunbar is now out, but who knows what they're going to do. Although the Patriots D, they can't stop anybody either. They just score more points than everybody.
Right. Once they get up by enough, it doesn't matter. You're going to be throwing the ball anyway.
Yeah, very true. Brandon Whedon, I had to cut him this week to try and pick up some guys that would actually get in my lineup. So
more points for Hopkins.
Yeah, the garbage time points last week for Hopkins were just ridiculous. He did nothing, and Atlanta had like a 40-point lead.
Well, how do you classify garbage time for the Texans? That's like the whole game.
Well, they were down by 40, and now all of a sudden Hopkins starts catching balls. Gosh, that was terrible. It was awful. Anyway, sidetrack. Starting receivers in the game of the week matchup. Percy Harvin for straight out of Compton.
These two teams are like total opposites.
I know, matched up with Antonio Brown. So definitely strength-wise, the quarterback or the running backs for Compton versus the strength and receiver on a suit up. So I'm guessing you like suit up in this head-to-head starting receiver matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Even with Michael Vick throwing him the ball, it's Antonio Brown. So
yeah.
Percy Harvin, he's had one big play all year.
T-Mobile gonna get him the ball.
And he needs to
give me some bonus touchdowns.
Same area code or something. But we'll see on that one. Now let's get into the flex. So this should be pretty even in the flex, but we'll see. Straight out Compton's flex, Todd Gurley, Jeremy Hill, and Terrence Williams matched up with DeAndre Hopkins, who's currently going on behind us, Alan Hearns, and James Jones. So a lot of receivers on the suit-up side, a lot of running backs on the Compton side. It is PPR. Jeremy Hill against the Seahawks. That's a tough draw. Well, at least it is. What?
That is a tough matchup.
At least it's not in Seattle. It's in Cincinnati, so that's a little bit of a positive. Don't know if he's going to score 3 touchdowns this week.
And it's not a primetime game, so that'll help Dalton.
Absolutely. I'm hoping A.J. Green gets a little bit of that pie.
Not sure about that.
Yeah, nobody's jumping out. That's a tough matchup. Gurley looked pretty good, but going up against the Packers, who are probably going to have a lead, it's in Lambeau. I don't know what we're expecting out of him. And Terrence Williams, I didn't see what he did. I don't remember what he did last week, but the first week Whedon didn't even throw him the ball, or at least connect on a pass.
He had 3 for 49 and a touch last week.
So he's kind of got in the end zone. Got to get in the end zone to be productive. It seems with Whedon throwing him the ball. But you got Hopkins going on behind us, who already has 5 grabs and almost double-digit points. Allen Hurns, who exploded last week up against the Buccaneers, and James Jones against the Rams. So, you liking anybody in this flex matchup?
Another
Derek.
chop block. Yeah, sorry, Hopkins almost made a play.
Who you picking in the flex?
Yeah, I mean, Gurley did look good last week, and the Packers D line's been pretty solid this year. So that this is a really even matchup. This should be a good game.
Yeah, and I'm kind of just going based on the numbers. You got division leaders. You got about the same average points over 4 weeks. So pretty sure this should come down to the wire. Let's flex as a toss-up. Let's move it right into tight ends. Tyler Eifert for Compton matching up against Larry Donnell for Suit Up.
A couple weeks ago, I'd have said Eifert by a mile, but I don't think he did much last week, did he?
No, and he's got the Seahawks this week. And Larry Donnell is going to go up against the 49ers at home. So that seems like a pretty good matchup that could surprise people. Now, he's probably going to have to get in the end zone to make something happen there. But, I think it's a lot more even than it would have been a couple weeks ago, like you said.
Definitely.
So kickers don't count. Rolling in right into defense, Compton has Khalil Mack, C.J. Mosley, and Ryan Shazier. And Suit Up has Clay Matthews, Malcolm Smith, and Corey Graham. Not a whole lot of big-name defenders. Straight Out Compton had big numbers out of their defense last week, but don't have Rashad Jones in the lineup due to bye week. So Mosley usually is good for quite a few points. I don't know. Nobody's jumping on the page. How about you? You're the defensive guru. You like one team over the other in this matchup for defense?
Yeah, I think Straight Out of Wisconsin has the edge on the defense. Shazier was a beast before he hurt his shoulder, so hopefully he's back to 100%. Mosley's had been solid all season minus 1 week.
Yeah, and even I think Khalil Mack had a decent game last week, if I remember correctly. So yeah, should be a good matchup. Any last comments on the game of the week?
No, not really. Should be a good game.
Yeah, hopefully it comes down Monday night. Definitely got Vic and a couple other guys going, Antonio Brown. So it's going to come down to the wire, and hopefully that's the case. So we get a kind of repeat of last week. So that is your C2FL breakdown of Game of the Week. Let's do a recap. We're going to go speed round with our guest right now in a minute. Let's take a look at Beat-Out's picks from last week. He picked, I'm going to bring it up here. So Beat-Out's pick Straight Out of Compton over the Bruisers. Yes, that's a go. He picked himself.
By this much.
Yeah, that was a good game of the week. Pinecone picked himself over NATO. Yes, sir, that was a W. Unfortunately, picked the Meatheads. They got beat. Only put up 92 points. Mighty Jabronis, no, that was a no-go. Stink City Bombers remained undefeated. Woodsman also lost to the Rainfallers of 10 inches of rain. And he picked the Propaniacs to take down Suit Up. So that was also a no. So Beto had 2 correct out of 6. So he went 2 and 4. That's a rough pick 'em. But after a couple good weeks of guest appearances, let's get into your picks. Speed round. Here we go. Derek, team owner of Stink City Bombers. Let's make it a true speed round. Who you got? Meatheads or the Woodsman?
I'll take Alec in that one.
He's taking the Woodsman. Who you got? Stink City or the Propaniacs?
Well, I'm not going to pick against myself, so.
Supporting the Thatherton Fuels. Okay. Straight out of Compton, suit up your C2FL game of the week.
We'll go with straight out of Wisconsin.
To have another tight victory could be. We got NATO Nation, 10 inches of rain, a little workplace matchup.
We'll go with 10 inches of rain.
To continue their winning ways. How about the Bruisers and Lorenzo von Matterhorn?
We'll take Lorenzo in that one.
And to wrap up your speed round, we got Pinecone Fury and the Mighty Jabronis.
Oh, there it is. Oh, one quarterback and Brandon Whedon. Oof. Take Pinecone in that one.
Pinecone to keep the winning rolling. There you go. Those are Derek's picks. Woodman, Stink City Bombers, straight out of Compton, 10 inches of rain, Lorenzo von Matterhorn, and Pinecone Fury. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been the Week 5 preview on the C2FL podcast. Thank you to our special guest, Derek, for tuning in, giving us his fantasy football knowledge. That's all I got. Derek, you got last words?
5-0.
We'll see about that. Go Propaniacs, Strickland Propane. Try and pull the upset. We got to get something. Otherwise, we're falling into a bigger hole. That's all I got. See you guys next week. Good luck. Except to the Stink City Bombers.
Yeah.